it all came together. We had a really good game. Everybody was just locked in, trying to make tackles. We weren't missing too many tackles, running to the ball, playing with energy. Everybody, you could tell we expected, and we knew what this game meant, so we just tried to get after it.
Get that picture framed yet?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, it's already framed. I'm taking the one in the hallway, too.
All right, Santa, if you're listening, I'll take one too. That would be nice for my basement. Welcome to Steelers Live, everybody. Let's get right to the Steelers practice report for Thursday. Some good news, some bad news. James Conner not practicing for the second day in a row. JuJu Smith-Schuster is new to this list. He was limited in practice today, but the good news is Terrell Edmunds was limited on Wednesday, a full participant today, and then Bud Dupree didn't practice at all on Wednesday. He was out there in full force today. Of course, the other guys were coaches' days off on Wednesday, or in Cam Hayward's case, full yesterday, full again today. So heading in the right direction there. Joining me now is Bob Labriola to talk about it. And Labs, I don't think we're going to see James Conner in New Orleans. I think maybe I had some hope on Tuesday, but 2 days in a row, and based on what James Conner said in the locker room yesterday, I think it's going to be Jalen Samuels.
Yeah, I agree with you. And, I also think that James Conner's prospects for playing on Sunday were not exactly enhanced by the fact that the game is going to be indoors on turf. Turf is notoriously difficult on joints. James Conner's ankle situation, I didn't have a lot of confidence that he was going to be able to come back that quickly and play on turf, and that seems to be the way it's trending right now. I personally am extremely happy that Cam Hayward is showing no ill effects of a hyperextended knee that he sustained against New England, but he did finish the game against the Patriots, which to me was a good sign. Usually if a guy sustains an injury and is unable to finish a game, you usually do not see him the following week. Terrell Edmunds is moving through the concussion protocol seemingly consistently, so based on what we know right now, and I would say that he is on track to be able to play against the Saints.
All right, we will continue to watch Bud Dupree for practice on Friday, and that, of course, is when the status report comes out. But it is Coordinator Thursday here on Steelers Live, and first we will start with defensive coordinator Keith Butler talking about going from game planning for Tom Brady now to Drew Brees.
You always look at people that are successful against them and try to take some things away from that that you can do, that your guys can do. So, we'll do the best we can with the guys that we play against them. I mean, it's a big time game for us, and our guys understand that. I think the biggest thing for us is, if we can play two of the best teams in the league back to back and be successful, it will shape us where we need to go in terms of the playoffs and stuff like that. So we have a great challenge in front of us, and our guys understand it, I think.
All right, and it sure will determine a lot about the Steelers team depending on if they win or lose in New Orleans. And raise your hand if you thought they were going to hold the Patriots to 10 points.
No, and one thing, I don't think Keith Butler has ever uttered a more true statement than the one where he just said, if we can handle Tom Brady and Drew Brees back-to-back weeks, that'll say a lot about this unit. And I personally believe that at this particular stage, this year, this December, the difficulty in playing the Saints is more than the difficulty in playing Tom Brady in New England. I think that the Saints offense has a better running attack, which will make Drew Brees potentially more difficult to deal with. And I also think that, Michael Thomas, the Saints wide receiver, is the best wide receiver on either of those two teams. And by that I'm meaning the Saints or the Patriots. And so, they're going to be at home in the Dome. It's a very, 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 very difficult test for the Steelers defense.
All right, and coming up, Tunch will be scouting the Saints for us, but let's take a listen now to offensive coordinator Randy Fichtner talking about number 13, James Washington.
Maybe a little more consistency. He's been actually growing. I mean, you just kind of feel it. It's probably natural for rookies at certain times to kind of make that jump, and hopefully he did, and that's exciting for him. and for us.
Did you see more confidence?
Yeah, you could see it. You're seeing it growing in practice too. He's getting a lot more reps, and he's going with the look team, so he's actually getting more reps that way too.
So that's the same with that combat catch he made too, in the game.
Those things he kind of did in fall camp that got everyone excited.
All right, and Labs, peaking at the right time, I talked with Prasuta about this on the show yesterday, not only for James Washington, but Jalen Samuels, who we've talked extensively about, and even Terrell Edmonds. But as we said, JuJu Smith-Schuster was limited in practice today with a groin injury, so a lot could be on the plate for James Washington depending on what happens with that injury.
Yeah, and the Steelers needed additional weapons for Ben Roethlisberger in the passing game, and James Washington seems to be stepping forward maybe when they need him the most. This passing attack last week was juiced by the return of Eli Rogers, which I thought was somewhat significant, even though he didn't have a lot of catches. I do believe that Ben Roethlisberger likes him as a player and sees him as a reliable option, and so that makes him valuable if the quarterback believes that and believes in him. And James Washington, you mentioned the JuJu Smith-Schuster situation, which it could be minor. We really don't know at this point. But James Washington is a guy who has some down the field ability, and if the Steelers are going to go down to the Superdome and upset the Saints, we could talk about the defense a lot. And Missi, as you mentioned at the start of this segment, who believed that the Steelers would hold New England to 10 points. I don't see that happening again, and so a lot of the responsibility for the outcome of this game, I believe, is going to fall on the Steelers' offense in two ways. Being able to control the ball in terms of keeping the Saints' offense off the field on the sideline, and then you have to finish drives with touchdowns. Can't be settling with field goals, because I think you're going to have to get close to 30 points to be there at the end against New Orleans.
All right, Labs, thanks so much for joining me today. We're going to take a quick break. Up next, Tunch Ilkin with the SiriusXM Scouting Report.
If you crave around-the-clock Steelers coverage, check out Steelers Nation Radio, your 24/7, 365 audio home of the Pittsburgh Steelers all year long. SNR keeps you in the loop with exclusive Steelers content, vintage game day replays, and expert analysis from those who know the Steelers best. Listen to your 24/7 audio home of the Pittsburgh Steelers on iHeartRadio, Steelers.com, and the Steelers official mobile app.
The Steelers' official mobile app brings your game day experience to a whole new level. The app features a new game center full of stats, drive charts, and video highlights. Following the game, watch live press conferences and video interviews. Download the Steelers' official mobile app for free today.
The league considers rule changes annually. We want to keep the game competitively fair, and we just want to make the game as safe as we can make it. Recently, we expanded the horse collar tackle rule to not only include inside the collar, but outside the collar. Guys were being injured, so we expanded that rule. You talk to the players about why the rule is being changed, but then you also talk to your coaches about how it might change our instruction. The game is evolving, and it's evolving for the better.
All right, before the Steelers head to the Big Easy, we need to know everything and anything about the Saints. Joining me now is Tunch Ilkin with the SiriusXM Scouting Report.
Missi, when you look at the New Orleans Saints, let's start offensively. It starts with Drew Brees. I've been around this game for a long, long time, 39 years in the National Football League. And I have never seen a quarterback with as good of footwork and feet as Drew Brees. Everything he believes works from the ground up. And when you watch his feet, he's got a really wide stance when he throws the ball. And a lot of times, because he's short, he gets up on his toes. He doesn't have the same gun that he had years ago, but he still makes all the throws. It's all timing. It's all rhythm. And he does a great job of getting that ball out quickly. He also does a great job on play action passes. He carries out his fakes well, and he does a great job of putting the ball in stride for his receivers. You look at his receivers, and Labs, Missi was talking about Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas catches everything that's thrown at him. This guy is big. He's tall, he's strong, he does a great job of going up and getting the ball, and he's got decent speed as well, and he's really good after the catch. He's a very, very physical, big receiver. And all the receivers are big, with the exception of Tommy Lee Lewis, who's a little guy at 5'7", but he's very fast, 4'4". Traquan Smith, he's a rook, he's a little raw, but he also does a great job. And Benjamin Watson, at 38 years old and 15 years in the league, their tight end, he is still doing a great job. But when you watch this team, you know, the running backs are what jump out at you. First of all, Alvin Kamara, he's got just under 1,500 total yards. He's great in space. He's a very explosive runner. They do a great job of getting the ball out to him on the perimeter. They want to put the ball in his hands in the passing game and in the running game. He's got speed, he's got shiftiness, he's very explosive, he's very elusive, and he runs great routes for a running back, and he's got good hands. Mark Ingram is the other running back, and Mark, man, he is physical. He's got the power, he's got the strength, he's got tremendous vision, he's a cutback runner. You got to stop the run at these guys. Watch the explosiveness, and he doesn't go down. Watch them run over guys. How many tacklers did he leave in his wake? And so offensively, it starts with the run with these guys. If you stop them running the ball and you take away Michael Thomas, the other receivers don't really scare you. And I think you're going to have an easier time of it than maybe we think, because Max Unger, their starting center, who is a good center, but he's in the concussion protocol. Teron Armstead, he's had a torn pec. He's their starting left tackle. He hasn't played much in the last 5 games. Jermon Bushrod, he hurt his hammy last week. So a lot of their offensive linemen are dinged up. They're maulers. They're very physical, but I like the Steelers' chance against them. Let's flip over to the defensive side of the ball. When you look at their defense, it starts with their defensive line, and it starts with Cam Jordan. He's got 12 sacks. He's a great pass rusher. He's very, very physical. He can run you over. He can finesse. He's even slippery. I mean, he does a great job. When you look at this defensive line, they are very well coached. They use their hands well. They lock out on the runs, and they keep the offensive linemen off them. You know, Sheldon Rankins is their second leading sacker. He's their 3 technique guy. He's got 8 sacks. Alex Okafor, opposite of Cam Jordan, he's got 4 sacks. These guys get after the quarterback. They're leading the league with 45 sacks, and there's a bunch of guys that get to the quarterback. The linebackers are very active. You know, Demario Davis, number 56, they got him from the Jets this past year. He's the thumper. He's very, very physical. Alex Anzalone, he's a run and chase guy, but they bring him off in sub packages. AJ Klein, he's smart, he's fast, and he does a great job of beating the blocker to the point. He does a great job avoiding blocks and making tackles. The secondary, the number 1 corner is Marshawn Lattimore. He is the matchup guy. He'll probably be following AB all around. On the other side, Eli Apple, he's an interesting player. Sometimes he looks great, and sometimes he doesn't. You know, he can run, he can tackle, but when he gets muscled up in the air, like, you know, how Mike Tomlin talks about combat catches, a lot of times he looks weak in those jump balls where tough, physical wide receivers do a good job of out-muscling. Kurt Coleman is the strong safety. He's the box safety, but you know what they do? They take him out when it's in sub-packages, 2nd and long and 3rd and long, and they bring in Von Bell. Marcus Williams is their free safety. You know, on the back end, they don't scare me. If you protect Ben this week, you're going to be able to put up some points against these guys.
All right, Tunch, thanks so much for the Sirius XM scouting report. And since it is Thursday, for our Steelers Nation Unite members, the keyword today is Christmas. So head to SteelersNationUnite.com and enter the keyword Christmas for joining us today here on Steelers Live. Tunch, thanks for your time, and thanks to everybody for watching today. We will be back tomorrow at 4 p.m.